Ethereum season has begun. And if you're an experienced person in crypto and you've seen these market cycles, you know that this is the beginning of the liquidity rotation into higher risk plays as well as altcoins at the high end. So in this video, I'm going to go over everything you need to know about this liquidity rotation, my targets for Ethereum in the short term, and when I think money's going to start to really trickle into the coins underneath it, because this is the type of thing that does start to culminate into an alt season. And also, I'm going to have a watch list for you guys that you can follow that have every single coin that I am super dialed into or holding in this market. Really the only ones that I'm trying to trade on a daily basis as well as accumulate, and I think have the highest upside throughout the cycle. So without further ado, let's jump into it. And before we get started today will be a quick video, but before we get started, be sure to drop down, hit that like button, and subscribe to the channel for more every single day here on In the Game. We have you covered throughout the bear, bull market, and now during the euphoric time period where we see this Ethereum chart doing a ton of numbers. So be sure to like and subscribe to ride with us throughout this bull run. As well, a big shout out to our sponsors here on In the Game. We have 𝗪𝗏, 𝗪𝗏𝗃, EverReach Labs, and of course NEXUS. This is where I'm showing you the charts. This is the software that I use every single day on these shows. As you can see, you can trade perps up to 40x leverage on tons of different pairs here across the cryptocurrency landscape. But on top of that, you can also trade in the traditional markets, different stocks, Nvidia, Microsoft, Apple, and you can do these all across 100x leverage as well. So be sure, if you're not already using NEXUS, you can track the markets, your watch list, your portfolio, one of the best all-around platforms in all of crypto. So be sure to check that out down below in the description. But let's just move over to the watch list. You saw that Ethereum chart, which just looks absolutely beautiful. And this is the type of liquidity rotation that does begin to see altcoins underneath Ethereum start to do very well. And if we just look at these, most of these charts are just green, green, green. Like really, altcoins are starting to eat up a ton of liquidity, which is fantastic for us here. If we positioned ourselves over the course of the bear and the bull in tons of quality altcoins. And as we look here, we just filter on the daily. We can see stuff like Bonk, which just continues to rip. And we'll talk about that later in the video. If you should be investing in Bonk or should you be investing in Pump Fund at these current levels. And then just going down, we see Limbo, one of our favorite AI agents, up 43% on the weekly. We still see 𝗠𝗏 over $4. We see Tau at like 437 or something like that. 𝗪𝗏𝗟𝗙 starting to move today. So altcoins are definitely getting a lot of love in this market, but most importantly, Ethereum. Because once ETH wakes up, as it is right now, this is when the market is really going to get fun and euphoric. We've seen Bitcoin do this astronomical rise, but to me, Ethereum, the party's not even going to really start until 3,500, 3,700, etc. I think those levels are when people are going to really start to feel FOMO, really start to be euphoric in this market. But luckily for us on this channel, we've positioned ourselves quite well and readjusted our portfolio from weakness about 6 to 7 months ago whenever the market started to crash after the Trump launch, and really rotated ourselves into the best coins in the market. But before we dive into what coins I think still have pretty good entries, where I'd want to be positioning myself across tokens, DeFi, and as well my targets and my exit strategy, I want to just go over a little bit of news here. Big news today in Washington, D.C. Obviously, it is crypto week, and the U.S. House just advanced 3 bills here: the Crypto Genius Act, the Clarity Act, as well as the Anti-CBDC Act. So look, as much as the Trump administration felt very volatile up front for cryptocurrency specifically, what's been happening in crypto over the last few months has just been absolutely beautiful to see. And then on top of that, we see a letter drafted to potentially fire the Fed chair, Jerome Powell. So he wants those rate cuts. And in this environment, with altcoins finally starting to pick up, with Bitcoin where it's at, if we got rate cuts on top of this, I mean, the blow off top on this market would be absolutely ridiculous. So that's something I'm closely monitoring. But as mentioned, ETH season transitions to alt season. The golden bull is hitting its next stages. Time to lock in. But we've been locked in here on this channel for the last 4.5 years. And as you can see here, people, as we've been talking about, have been accumulating Ethereum, and not just investors. We're talking about companies, like treasury companies in full. As we see here, SharpLink Gaming, the top 10 companies now hold 1.6 million Ethereum, with SharpLink holding more than the Ethereum Foundation, by the way, at 280,000 Ethereum, surpassing the ETH Foundation. You can see the inflows over 3 months, the amount of money coming into Ethereum. This run was inevitable, and we've been actually showing you guys that data, that we can focus all we want on the Bitcoin accumulation. And that's fantastic for long term. I mean, I think you have to have Bitcoin in your stack. But when we're just looking at the sheer volume and the amount of companies that were switching their priorities, or even just came out of the woodworks and said, hey, we're just going to start buying a ton of ETH. It's also a scarce asset. As you know, digital gold is looked at as Bitcoin. You could kind of look at Ethereum as oil. It's what powers the entire blockchain. And also it's what powers a ton of L2s and L3s that are built underneath it. So ETH is inevitable. And look, we are starting to see kind of a takeover here. So a bunch of crypto brands are using pudgy penguins as their PFPs. And we see 𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 kind of pudgy. Now, this is like the first mainstream company to do this, so I wouldn't consider this toppy, but for those that are new to the market, when this type of stuff starts happening regularly every single day, you see like Nikes and all these big brands, if they were to come in here and throw a pudgy in their PFP or a Bored Ape last cycle, when you start to see celebrities getting into NFTs again, that could be a good signal to start selling a little bit. And that's actually just reality. I think that could be a pretty smart move. But what I've actually done here, so this watch list here, this main one that I show you guys every single day, there's a lot of quality coins here, and there's also a lot of coins that have just fallen off of a cliff over the course of time. Whether they were a gaming, an AI, a meme coin, whatever the case is, a lot of these are not even relevant anymore just because of the market climate. I mean, there's 240 coins on there. Obviously, we aren't really looking to invest in 240 tokens. So what I have done, I've made a new refined bull run portfolio watch list. So this is really the projects that I'd be cozy having in my portfolio throughout this bull market. There are 28 tokens on this list. That does not mean that I hold these 28 tokens, but this is really the watch list that I'm going to hone in on, and I'll start adding gems here and there whenever I feel like either adding something to my portfolio or I just see something of quality to add here. But as we're looking at this list, and it does make a lot of sense, literally almost everything is in the green here. Like, these are very strength-based coins, but these are all coins you've heard us talk about here on the channel. The only thing really would be Bonk and Pump Fund that haven't really been discussed at high levels on this channel. Obviously, we've talked about Pump Fund quite a bit, and Pump Fund is buying back a ton of their own token, and I think 6 billion still is a pretty safe level for entry here. But it is interesting because the Bonk Launchpad, the token launcher, is doing more revenue daily actually than what right now Pump Fund is doing. So people are using this as a catch-up trade. I wouldn't be buying this right now, but it has been an interesting narrative. So I have added this to this watch list alongside Pump Fund. I do like Pump Fund as a buy, and honestly, Bonk, if they're doing more revenue, could eventually get above that FDV of $6 billion. So regardless, it could be a great catch-up trade. But just looking at this watch list right here, number one, let's go over the winners so far if you've been watching this channel, the targets that I have for take profits potentially, and I'm not talking about sell your whole position. So as much as people on YouTube, and myself included, give you guys a lot of coins over the course of time, and also why we like them, what price we're buying, etc., it's not even your entry that's the most important. It's your exit strategy, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go over a few of the top plays that we've been talking about that have been pumping, and I'll go over a few levels where I plan to start scaling a little bit into stables or pushing it back into Bitcoin, whatever the case is, because that is honestly the most important thing. Now that things are getting euphoric, don't get lost in the sauce, as they say. We want to make sure that we have tangible, realistic targets here throughout the bull run, that when a bag of yours doubles, triples, you're at least clearing your risk and you have nothing but upside from there. That's what we want to do this bull run. I know a lot of people from 2021 who got caught holding the bag at the top, or even last year at the end of March 2024. And then of course, January 2025, when the market did collapse a little bit. It never feels good. So let's just run down here. Obviously, I think ETH to new all-time highs, that's easy. I really wouldn't be selling Ethereum until those levels minimum. But you have to understand there's going to be a lot of people who bag held from last cycle who also want to see higher than 4,000 and then also could be taking profits at those levels. So for me, Bitcoin, Ethereum, those are definitely longer term bets. As I cycle down Hyperliquid, I've always been saying I think Hyperliquid to $100. But look, if this thing keeps going, 55, 60, 75, based on our entries between those $27 and $33 levels that we were screaming on this channel, that's a pretty solid bet for a market cap this large. So as you scroll down here, you're going to be able to set higher targets, more multiples, for example, but this has already done a 7x from its lows at $7. And I think $100 is realistic, and that would be a pretty good bet for us if we could hit it. But I will be slightly scaling out if we hit 60, 75, 85, 95. Like as we continue to rise throughout this bull market, this is something I will be scaling out profits because it has just provided so many X's for those involved. I do plan on keeping a position in Hyperliquid, but that is where my take profit targets are located. And then we move on to 𝗬𝗓 here. Obviously, these coins have been doing very well, right? And these aren't the ones that I'd be rushing to the gates to buy right now. These are ones that if you were DCAing when we were talking about them at their lows, like $2.43, $2.39 for 𝗬𝗓. This is something, if we just look at the all chart, we're not even at all-time highs yet. All-time highs yet are around that $4, 71 cent, $5 level. And then that could be price discovery. So for me, I think 6, 7, 8, $10 is realistic here for something like 𝗬𝗓, but we need to see this alt season play out. For something like Avalanche, this is one of the rare ones on this list that I actually think is a great entry at this point in time. If we look back at the all chart as well, we know all-time highs back here around that $120 something level, but for the most part, other than that, like we saw $62 on this coin about a year and a half ago. And since then, it hasn't really done much. I think this will be a big catch-up trade throughout the cycle. So of all the entries on this list, I think AVAX, 𝗕𝗏𝗄, as well as if I'm looking down this list right now, I still think that gaming coins have a really good entry point here. We'll talk about that in just a second. And I really like 𝗏𝗏𝗏. So as 𝗏 continues to run, we look at 𝗏, BitTensor. You want to look at these ecosystems as also a funnel into their broader blockchain, subnets, etc. So for something like a 𝗬𝗓, as 𝗬𝗓 continues to climb, beta plays to 𝗬𝗓 underneath it, 𝗬𝗓 lend, or that's just a protocol. But for example, you could find gems of tokens in that blockchain ecosystem that do very well as a proxy. And as AI coins continue to grow, and I'm not the only one, I think AI coins are about to have a huge blow off top. And I think that if BitTensor crosses this $500 level over the course of the coming days, I mean, this thing could be on a, straight up trajectory to this all-time high at $714. And honestly, if you want the strongest altcoin in crypto as far as AI goes, I still think BitTensor is pretty cheap whenever it comes to the fact I think this hits $1,000 plus pretty easily. But if you want a beta play to that, I'd be looking at something like 𝗏𝗏𝗏. Sitting at a $50 million market cap. This thing reacts very well to when the AI market pumps as well as 𝗏 pumps. So this is one I have added a position into, and I do think as 𝗏 continues to climb, this is a great one to hit at least $100 million market cap on that fully diluted. And look, I always give conservative targets as well, guys. So whenever I'm telling you I think there's a prediction, for me, that's more conservative because I think our goal is to hit those targets. I don't want to say Bitcoin to 600,000 by the end of the year because look, the blind bullishness gets nobody anywhere. But on top of that, that's just not really that realistic of a time frame to do a 4 or 5x on Bitcoin, right? So for me, I'm always going to give you guys more solid, grounded, realistic targets. And if it hits that, we made money, we took some profits, and we're ready for the next leg up if it keeps going higher, because that's the way I play it, right? So I'm looking to take profits, leave a bag in, get my initials out as soon as the market really starts getting euphoric. It lowers your risk, your psychology is a lot healthier. So that's going to be the most important thing in this alt season. And while you probably came into this video thinking, he's going to give us 4 or 5 coins that he likes. And I just did, right? I think AVAX is still a great buy. I actually do think 𝗬𝗎 and 𝗕 are still fantastic levels to accumulate. I love 𝗕𝗏bot as a beta play to that. And then I think gaming coins are eventually going to have a pretty volatile run, which we'll talk about in just a second. But for the most part, this is the time in the bull market where you're going to feel like you need to be clinically online. You need to be in the trenches. You need to be paying attention. You want to watch that number go up and down, but it can drain you mentally. So you want to have that exit strategy. And I just want to implore you 100 times over that that is going to be the most important part of this bull market. Yes, it feels good right now, but at the end of the day, you're looking to walk out of the casino with more money than you walked into it. So we're going to try to help you guys do that. As soon as I start taking profits out of this market and on certain coins, I will let you guys know that. But moving on to gaming, because I read a lot of comments online, the takes on gaming that it's dead or that it needs revamping. And I think it needs revamping. I'm in that camp. Or that it's not dead at all, right? So crypto gaming, it's not going to be the lead kingmaker narrative like last cycle. And whenever I talk about that, like if we just go look at something, it's not going to be on this watch list, but let's just go look at something, not even like an 𝗥𝗄𝗃. Let's just use Sandbox. Let's just pull up the Sandbox here and see the all chart. And you can see this thing did a 10x in a week, basically, in 2-3 weeks. Like this thing was just insane at that point in time. But we're not probably going to see that level of aggression on gaming coins, but what we will see is a liquidity rotation into quality gaming coins at some point in time that have been building the right way. And as Robbie from Immutable said here, the 63% chance that the Clarity Act gets passed, and as we said earlier in this video, the House advances the Clarity Act. But what a lot of people don't see in this act is in the draft of it, certain video game tokens are exempt from being digital commodities. This creates a clear path for AAA studios to come on chain. Now, this has long been something we've wanted, but this could actually, no pun intended, provide clarity to that. We also see Off the Grid coming to Steam with Web3 mechanics. This launches tomorrow on Steam. That's going to be huge. We see Mythical Games, which is doing 850 million in lifetime transaction, and they're not even really going for Web3 gamers, which is just phenomenal at this point in time. So for me, the few that I've left on this watch list, I like IMX, Super, Beam, Ronin, Prime, Wilder World, Zentree, WAGMI Games would be my moonshot here. These guys, the amount of development and really the war chest that they're working with in their arsenal to grow the game, have buybacks using revenue. This is probably the best low cap gaming coin as far as the catalysts that I have seen laid out and that are about to unfold, literally starting in August. So I'm really bullish on what WAGMI's doing as a moonshot. I like Gunzilla and I like the Mythos token. And that is one that I think just gets overlooked so much. But if you're bullish on NFL rivals, FIFA rivals, Pudgy World coming out soon, this is definitely one that you have to have on your watch list. It doesn't get enough trading volume, and it is interesting to see that it's kind of just under the radar. But this should be much higher, in my opinion, just given the fact that they have pushed out some of the most successful Web3 games ever since Axie Infinity. So that's really what I'd be looking at in the gaming space. I think they're all pretty cheap. It's just a matter of what flavor you want to go for. Do you want an ecosystem? Do you want an individual game? Do you want a little higher market cap like an IMX? Do you want a lower market cap like a Gunzilla or a WAGMI Games? That's totally up to you. But that's what I'm looking at in this market right now. And of course, I have a lot of questions coming through about Black Hole. Black Hole TGE last night did go pretty well. And I saw multiple takes on this, but I do want to just kind of preface, Superverse is like the parent project of this. So nobody could have expected Black Hole to eclipse this market cap. Like I've seen some varying takes that it was disappointing or that they were surprised it's low or that it's really high and maybe it doesn't warrant that yet. But at the same time, a 50 million market cap on launch for this does feel appropriate. The liquidity's all on AVAX, which also kind of caps it off just a little bit because, liquidity is very segmented and there's only a certain amount of crypto overall liquidity on AVAX. But this 56 cent level, I really wouldn't be surprised to see this hit $100 million, especially if altcoins continue to run. And it's just, this coin is very much prepped and primed for, ecosystem rewards and upside. So for me, I love this, but I'm getting a ton of questions about the platform itself. So later in this week, as the epoch, the rewards begin tonight. So I will come up with the full-blown strategy on what I am doing to maximize my rewards whenever that does happen. So expect that either on Thursday or Friday of this week. And that's going to do it for me, guys. Like I said, this is not a go buy these 10 tokens video. This is not a 100x, 1000x altcoin gym video, but I want to make sure that we're all in the right mindset to win in this market. And I don't feel like enough people are going to tell you that on YouTube. They're just going to continue to tell you to buy, buy, buy. But at the end of the day, your entry is only as important as your exit. And that's what I really want to get into your head, because healthy psychology in these times, look, I feel it. I feel FOMO. Sometimes I feel underexposed. I feel like I want to ape into a coin that's already up 100% on the week because I missed the pump. Like, anyone in crypto feels those emotions because that's human psychology. But the best thing we can do is tame that throughout this market, accumulate the coins we want exposure to, which we've already done, and then also add gems along the way. Stuff like WAGMI, I think, is still great levels at $9 million. I think Gunzilla has a pump primed. I think Neural, Talbot, GPU. I think a few gaming coins. I still think AVAX is yet to run. So there's lots of opportunity for you still to take advantage of, and we're going to have you covered every single weekday here on In the Game throughout the bull run. So guys, be sure to like the video down below and subscribe to the channel for more. I'll see you guys on the next one. As always, play well, my friends, and of course, stay bullish, my friends.